Stevie, you look like a Cyberman. Right, cue me overlaying a Cyberman over your face right now. Welcome to 6 of One and Bill of the Other, where today we are going to discuss the latest Tim Burton film, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. We have 5 points we're going to cover.
Yeah, don't say it a third time. We might have to watch it again.
Oh no! Yeah! Holy shit! Can you imagine that? It's setting it up for a sequel that I'm definitely not going to be watching. For once, I've read some reviews and I've watched a few YouTube videos about this film because it's been out for so long. No one's going to be watching this podcast because everyone's already seen the film, made up their own opinions on it, and they definitely don't need me and you to tell them.
The 1967 film, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice.
Yeah. However, what I have seen a lot of people saying is they enjoyed this film. They thought it was fun. They said, Tim Burton, return to form, right? And I want to say, first of all, that I did, in my youth, I did quite admire Tim Burton. I liked his films. He had a little run there, Beetlejuice and Batman and...
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I'm out. No, Ed Wood, right?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I've never seen it.
Oh,
I've never seen it. It's good, is it?
Yeah, it's great.
Right, cool. So, Pee-wee. No. What is it? No. Right.
There was a joke when I was a kid that was like, what two people got shot in the movie theater? Abraham Lincoln and the guy sitting in front of Pee Wee Herman.
No, it's good. Right.
I'll explain it later.
Explain it later. Yeah. Explain it later when we're talking about the reason why the father character isn't in this film. Right. Tim Burton returned to form. The last film I enjoyed of his was back to 1994, Ed Wood, which I thought was a classic masterpiece, right? And since that point, I haven't enjoyed anything, not a single second of anything he's done, and I've barely watched any of his films. So for me, I'd had enough of Tim Burton, but I was encouraged by the positivity, and then I saw the film, and I'll be honest with you, Bill, straight off the bat, I did not like Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. I just want you to tell the people at home, what did you think, what's your opinion of Tim Burton then, going into this film?
I, like you, when he first came out, he was a new voice. He was interesting. I think he's become a bit like U2. Like, if U2 released a song right now, you know exactly what it would sound like. And I think you just kind of go into it, and I know exactly what... You say, oh, Tim Burton's doing new Beetlejuice. I know exactly what it's going to be, and we did our preview when we saw the original trailer, and we both talked about somebody made a fake trailer that was more like horror, themed, and I was like, I want to watch that one. This one felt like exactly what I thought it was going to be. So Tim Burton's talented, but I feel like he's like, hi, I'm Tim Burton. You're like, oh, this is new and interesting. And what's new and interesting in 1986 or 1991 isn't necessarily new and interesting in 2024. I feel like, is it a return to form? Sure, he's doing the same thing he did in 1991, and you might love that. Or for me, it's like, well, what's the purpose of making this? I saw it with my wife, and I don't hate it. I just went, okay. Like, that's what I thought it was going to be. There were some jokes I laughed at. I think I was somewhat influenced by the theater I saw it at. No one laughed at a single thing. Like, I think Richard Pryor in his prime could have come out and started riffing on the audience and just stone-faced. There was a lady looking at TikTok in front of me, and her phone was as bright as, like, the sun. And she's so just rude. Like, and you just see her big finger just... And no one... My wife laughed at some stuff. My wife liked the movie, which, maybe I'm being a little harsh on it. I didn't hate it. There were moments I liked... But I thought, like, let's go give an example.
Can you, before you give an example, can you just, okay, this might be the example you're about to give, right? Because you said you were in a theatre, you're influenced by it, and no one laughed. Could you give me an example of something you think they should have laughed at? Because I was one of those people. I was like a gargoyle, a stone gargoyle throughout.
I'll give you two.
Motionless.
The shrunken head assistants in his office I thought were funny.
What were they doing there? Why
they were like hiding under the desk.
Just referencing the first film.
Oh, of course. I did think, now the song is a different one. I thought when he gave his history and he just started speaking in that very serious old Italian voice, I thought that was
quite like that.
I thought that was funny.
That.
Yeah.
Quite
now,
like
but
that.
an example of what I'm saying about return to form being he just did what he used to do. So we're sitting around a boardroom, right? And I'm like, I'm like, material number 6. We need to remake Beetlejuice. What did people like about the first Beetlejuice? Let's pretend you're a lady because it's funnier. And you'd go,
Well, I think that everybody liked the banana song. When everyone sang the banana song, that was everybody talked about the banana song.
so what did they do? It's 2020. That happened 40 years ago. They played the banana song slow during one part, and that's fine with me. I'm like, okay, you're known for it. Let's play. And then they were like, let's do another funny song about a cake melting or something. And they played it at the end for 25 minutes. 25
I didn't
minutes
like
of the
it.
film. And
I think the general
if they did
public
that-
liked it. The general public liked it.
If they did that cake song for like 30 seconds, I'd be like, okay, they're trying to re-reference. But it's like, what's that meme where it's like, don't try to do the song again. It's not happening, or whatever that meme is. I felt like that's what I wanted to say to them. Like, yeah, well, it's just, we're not going to recreate. You have to come up with a new idea that people are like, and that's, I think, a statement of so many films that have come out in the last 10 years. Is it's like, hey, this worked 40 years ago. Let's do this same exact thing. I just picture Han showing up in the same outfit. Going like, hey, I've been doing, that thing you love? I've been doing it for 50 years. And I haven't changed a bit. And I think that's what this sort of was.
I'll tell you what, kind of on that point, right? When we did the trailer for this one, I rewatched Beetlejuice, which I remember loving as a kid. And I didn't, it's okay. It was okay, actually. I don't hold it in the reverence of the sort of the movie-going critics.
I will say this.
It was all right.
Yeah, but I will say this. Like, it's like going back and going, the Beatles don't sound all that innovative. And it's because everybody copied them after what they did. When Beetlejuice came out, so many of the things that they did were funny because they were innovative, and you've never saw anything like it before.
Well,
and so if you're going to revisit it, you have to do other stuff that we haven't seen before. You can't go like, hey, this was innovative in the 80s. Let's just do it all again.
I think you're right with that, but my actual sort of primary point on this one is that my reason for not much liking Beetlejuice as much as everyone else does is that Beetlejuice wasn't in it enough, right?
Yeah.
And I heard that when they came to discussing how to put this latest film together, now I'm not sure about this. This is what I've gained from reading and other people's reviews. Is that Michael Keaton said, yeah, I'll do Beetlejuice, but I don't want to be in it very much. In fact, I only want to be in it for approximately 1 minute 45 seconds. And rather than say to him, listen, mate, the film's called Beetlejuice. It's not even called Beetlejuice. It's called your character's name twice. You'll be in it, you'll get in here, you'll sit your ass down on the chair, and you'll be in this film for more than 1 minute 45 seconds. And they didn't do that. They said, that's fine, Mr. Keaton. Sign here. Here's a lot of money. And he is indeed only in the film momentarily. And it reminded me of the latest Netflix smash hit, which I think is Chaos, based on the Greek myths. And Jeff Goldblum, I think, turned up for the filming of that one and just did one afternoon in his dressing gown, in his smoking jacket, drank a cup of tea, and he considered leaving the house.
Personally, I have to disagree with you. I'm glad he didn't have a lot of screen time. I wanted more Rory. I said, hey, you know that
Rory, Justin Theroux.
Yeah,
you know that
really annoying guy that's doing the same joke over and over again, that he's a prick? You know how he just is like, hey, in case you guys forgot it, still a prick. And I'm glad they just really hammered down on that for the most of the film.
No, seriously, right? When it comes to what I liked about the film, right, I can't criticize Michael Keaton, his performance. Like, the guy is good in everything he's in.
Oh, he is. He's
and
amazing.
He can definitely he pulls Beetlejuice off, so to speak. He pulls Beetlejuice off beautifully. But I do seriously have an issue with, if you're gonna have a film where I really like the main character, but you're not gonna feature him too much, and you're gonna pad the film out with characters that I think are absolute horseshit, then you're gonna have a film that I'm gonna say, this film sucks ass, and I'm gonna have to do so many beeps. I'm giving myself so much work. but it deserves. I've just seen nothing but positivity. But it's really fun. It was really fun. Put Beetlejuice on the screen, then you might get the Mercurial number 6 to say, yeah, it's good. Michael Keaton's good. Yeah, no, horse shit. What did you think about?
I think it's the equivalent of like having your nephew at family barbecues do a funny impression, and then it's 40 years later and he's bald and he's suffering from cirrhosis of the liver, and your aunt who's just about to die herself goes,
Hey, Jimmy, why don't you do the impression that always makes us laugh?
and then he's old and he goes, and they'll go, oh, remember he did that thing he did. That's what it reminded me of. I think Michael Keaton is a fantastic actor. I think he's hilarious. And I think he did what in Beetlejuice, he did exactly what I expected. He's charming. He's funny. I enjoyed the moments that he was in it. I like that we learned his backstory. My favorite part was probably the old Italian backstory.
Yes.
Obviously, it did not pay off in the end of the movie, but I thought that was new. I wanted more, and it's hard. People love Beetlejuice because they came up with a really funny, unique idea. I remember being a kid with my little brother. We'd watch the cartoon, and they went even more into the world and everything. And this movie just drew from that. I felt like it could have been an episode of the cartoon that we watched when we were kids.
There was a cartoon.
Oh, yeah, there's a Beetlejuice cartoon. I just thought I wanted some more. I wanted a new idea, something unique to it. I sound a lot like I did with Alien Romulus.
But how many characters spoil the broth? I think this film was overloaded with characters that I didn't care about, and the film writers, script writers, the film itself made no effort to give me any reason to care about the fact that Willem Dafoe was in this film, Justin Theroux, and Monica Bellucci. And I'm not saying any of them were bad in it, apart from Justin Theroux. In this country, right, I mainly know Justin Theroux, I think, as being Louis Theroux's brother. Is he Louis Theroux's brother? I think he is.
I have no idea.
Please don't tell me you don't know who Louis Theroux is.
It sounds familiar.
Oh, don't worry about it. He's just a bloke who goes around pretending that he's an idiot, but actually he's quite switched on and just entices people to say shit that they would rather they hadn't said. It's one of those sorts.
Like a Borat?
Yes. Yeah, but kind of for real. Relatives, Louis Theroux, first cousin. Oh, I do apologise. He's Louis Theroux's cousin. That doesn't help our talk at all.
Yeah, I was like, what
the f*** am I talking about? Shut up, right. Well, hang on. Right.
Gina Davis has a cousin named Lulu. I don't.
Right. If Gina Davis had been in this film, I would have. She was my favourite thing about the original film, and she wasn't in it. So what I was left with, Bill, was Winona Ryder. Bill,
well,
what did you think about Winona Ryder's Ryder? What sort of?
What are you thinking about? Is that some kind of innuendo?
She had all the brown M&Ms removed. No, what did you think about Winona's Ryder?
Beaver, which I think was a Primus song. Yeah. I think that I was disappointed. I like Winona Ryder a lot. I thought she was great in Stranger Things, to give a more recent appearance by her. And I don't know if it's how they just wrote the character. I disliked her in this film. I thought Jenna Ortega, who plays her daughter, Astrid Dietz, I thought she was really good. Yeah. I've never watched. I never watched the Addams Family spinoff thing that all the little kids were obsessed with, and so this was my first introduction to her, and I thought she did wonderfully. I thought she was a good actress. I thought she was believable. Her plot was kind of silly. It's exactly what I thought the plot was going to be.
That's a complaint I've heard, is that everyone saw the plot, saw the twist coming.
Oh, sure. Well, my wife actually spotted that first when she ran into the boy in the tree. She whispered to me, "He's dead."
He's dead.
Yeah. I knew when they wouldn't show the parents. I was like, oh, it's something that I didn't care enough to, like, be taking puzzle pieces apart. I'm like, okay, we're in the, it's a tall, skinny kid. Okay. And,
I suppose it was, I know people have said, oh, we saw it coming. I suppose it had the potential to be quite an interesting storyline, really.
I mean, if they didn't give enough time to it, it was like, hey, we meet him. Hey, something's a little fishy. and now we're in the middle of the end of the plot. And I feel like I can't go back. Rory, to me, was so annoying. Winona Ryder's fiance. It's like the writers were going, okay, so we're writing a scene. Have we told them he's a prick? Let's have him say something really prickish here. And then they just did that every scene. I feel like every scene was like, oh, something a little interesting's happening. And he's like, do you remember I'm an asshole?
Yeah.
You know?
Are you saying, so when you're saying that Justin Theroux wasn't that great in this, are we saying it's because...
Well, no,
I'm saying
not
it's a lack
blaming-
of subtlety in what...
No, I'm not blaming
part.
him. Because I'm not blaming him because I don't know how you take his part. It was a very 1980s role. Like, remember the guy in Die Hard that was like, Buffy, I'm going to sleep with your wife. And
So Justin Theroux might be all right. It's just that he didn't have a nuanced part. He was very much playing the role of the prick.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say in this podcast, none of my commentary should be taken as a personal attack on anyone. I don't know him as a person. But except for, I guess, Jeffrey Jones, a lot of the characters couldn't be in it because they either murdered a guy on set, allegedly, or a woman, or they were in sexual unfortunate proclivities that do not allow them to be seen in public anymore.
I'll tell you what. Let's concentrate for a moment, not sexually, on the father figure. It's interesting what they did there. I've seen comments back and forth, positive, negative of this. My initial feeling was, you're not gonna, because of what the actor's done in real life, he's not going to be in the film. So therefore, just leave it alone. Don't keep mentioning him. Just leave it alone. And then I thought about it a bit more, and I thought, no, what they did was probably quite clever, and there was a bit of comedy there. I don't know, Bill. We need to decide now. Was what they did with the father character good or bad?
It's a weird thing because they had him obviously eaten by a shark, and that's like a play, like, haha, he's not a good person. Look at what we did. But then they made him a sympathetic character for the rest of the film, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but he's kind of in the waiting room going, oh, where's my wife? I miss her. And then you were supposed to go like, oh yeah, he was a nice guy in the movie. So I'm not offended by it, but I'm kind of like, it was like, you're going to do one thing or the other. I don't know. I didn't.
In the story world, the father exists as a separate entity from the actor who plays him.
Yeah.
So what they did was they said, it's not the character in the film's fault that the actor went on to take photographs or whatever he did. It's not the character's fault. So I think, if you want to be positive about it, I think they treated it quite well.
Yeah,
if you went into the film, especially if you had no knowledge, why would you expect him to not be there?
I think it's fine. I didn't. I'm not offended by it. I wonder if they did a joke where they just hired another actor and then made a joke about him having plastic surgery. There's the famous when they replaced Rhodes on Rhodey on Iron Man, and Don Cheadle goes, "Yeah, it's me. Get over it." And he walks by him, and then we all got over it. And I think they probably could have hired another actor and then said, oh, the plastic surgery, you look like a different person, and then we all would have just went along with it. I mean, especially, I won't say the charges because I don't want this video to get, like, whatever, by YouTube. But, like, based on what he did, I don't think anyone's crying about him losing out on the role, I'll say.
No.
You know.
And my favourite example of what you were saying was in Roseanne, where they replaced the actress who played Becky, I think it was.
Okay.
And then when she, Roseanne looks like, said something to look, so, oh, God, you look like a different person. Like, it's quite breaking the fourth wall.
I like the claymation. I thought the claymation as a way to put him in was clever.
That was probably the best moments in the film were the claymation, like, plane crash bit, and the whole Monica Bellucci sort of subplot where it's kind
Danny DeVito was good too.
Danny DeVito was good. So I suppose this is contrary to what I was saying, but I suppose some of my favourite bits were the subplots and some of the characters that went nowhere. So I suppose my problem with it is, it's not that the characters were terrible. They were just momentarily, like, what's the point of featuring?
Well, and that's the thing.
Willem
I think
Dafoe
we're talking about
for 15 seconds.
And I love Willem Dafoe in general, but like you said, he really didn't have a role in this film. But like, I think the main problem too is you like Beetlejuice himself, the character, right? And I suppose if you're a young teenage boy or girl, you probably want to hang out with Jenna Ortega. She's a pretty young actress, so I'm sure teenagers are like, yeah, I want to be like her. I like her, so I kind of get that. But as like an adult watching the film, I really liked the mother. Catherine O'Hara played her from Home Alone. She plays Delia. I thought she was really funny. She gets bit by the asps, and I thought she was like, when she was around, I was like, oh, good, she's around, because she was funny, and I liked her character. But like, who else in this are you going, oh, good? You know, like I've been keep busting on Rory, but you're like, oh, good, he's around again. I'm sure he's gonna say something prickish. Or like Winona Ryder's going to go, I don't know what to do. And it's like, I like Winona Ryder in just about everything I've seen her in. I didn't like spending time with her in this movie.
I don't think I like Winona Ryder anymore. I would have stuck. I used to like Edward Scissorhands and stuff. I used to fancy Winona Ryder, and I used to think she was quite good. And I used to stick up for her when people said she can't act.
Yeah.
But I have the horrible feeling that she can't act.
I don't think it, to stick up for her, I didn't take it as she's not acting well and I don't like her because of it. It's kind of like when they brought Harrison Ford back for the sequel to Blade Runner, which I love the film. But, like, who's Decker, really? Like, if I say Han Solo or Indiana Jones, you go, oh, I know who these characters are. If I say Decker from Blade Runner, he just talks in a monotone and he looks gruff at the camera. And I think she had a similar thing where, who is her character in the first? And she's this goth girl who's sort of, cool, and she's rebellious, and she is, their parents are sort of nuts, and she's like your sane through line through the film. And
That's interesting.
And I get giving that to Jenna Ortega for this movie, but I think what would have been more satisfying is maybe have her be out of touch in the beginning. I'm talking about Winona Ryder's character, and then have her slowly remember her sort of rebelliousness. And there's even a line in this where the mother, Delia, goes, I liked you better, or remember when you were a rebellious teen? Like, where's that girl? I felt the same way about the whole role. It's hilarious that they wrote that into it, because I wanted to see her sort of, a lot of movies, she starts out in a bad place and then she remembers who she was. And yes, she chases around her daughter to save her, but she's still the same, I don't know what's happening character. Yes. She's not a strong, like, I remembered myself. Like, The Dark Knight Returns. Batman's weak in the beginning and he gets beat up, and then he remembers who he is and he becomes the Batman from before, and then they end the film. And whatever, you might not like the film, but it felt like the real character. And in this, I felt like it was Winona Ryder playing a role that anyone else could have played. It was a milquetoast, weak character. And I didn't find it interesting.
I like the idea that I'm sort of being hard on Winona Ryder as an actress, but what you're sort of hinting at there is that the character itself there was nothing really to it. How do you reprise a character from 35 years ago that actually, what was there? It was goth girl. You're now later in life, Winona. Can you reprise your character of goth girl? Oh, how do you want me to play that? Well, just play it like a goth girl would be 35 years later. Okay. Thanks for that.
And I don't even think it was. And I think she had the goth girl haircut, but then she was just sort of like
the same haircut, isn't it? So she had the same. So it's like Han Solo. He's wearing the same Beetlejuice jacket,
the same clothes, except for they forgot to bring the character with her.
Yes. Okay, I'll give Winona Ryder a bit of a break there, because I think you're right. If someone said to you, Bill, can you just turn up today and do a continuation of how you were 35 years ago, you'd go, okay.
Well, you need a script.
And how did I know what to say? The words were written down for me in a script. How did I know where to stand? People told me.
It's a movie. You're saying lines people wrote for you.
Yeah.
And if they don't give you good things to say and interesting ways to act, and there's a whole thing in screenwriting that's show me, don't tell me. So you can't tell me in the script, hey, act more like the girl you were in the first movie. You got to show me by writing that into her character. And I don't think they did a good enough job. With Monica Bellucci, she's dating Tim Burton. But I thought for what she was, and I guess we'll come to later her role in the very end, I thought she was fine. I did not go like, when I watched The Acolyte, the showrunner hired her girlfriend, or I don't know if they're married, as one of the main villains, and in my opinion, she was terrible in it. It was like, she's not good at whatever, and maybe the actress is amazing in other roles. In that role, before I knew she was married to her, it was like, how did she get it? And she looked bad with the makeup, and acting was not good.
Right.
I did not, with this, I felt like it's fine. And, I didn't know, and I thought she was fine, and then you told me, and I still think it's fine.
But Tim Burton does this in every film. When we talk about these characters and all the different plot lines and things, I think we're both not entirely satisfied with the resolution of the various events in this film. And you put it as, oh, this is good. Oh, I can't wait to see how this ends. I can't wait. Oh,
It's over. Yeah.
So explain, Bill. I can't wait to see that. Oh, it's over. Explain, Bill.
The lovely Danny DeVito is a janitor. And
he was good.
And my air conditioner pops on. And he
he was good. He reminded me of his role in Friends. Do you remember when he played the stripper in Friends?
No,
you never watched Friends.
You always bring up Friends.
No, right, okay, right. If you do nothing else for the rest of your life, just look up Danny DeVito playing the stripper in Friends. It's very similar to this, and he's very good. Anyway, carry on. I'll stop interrupting. I know you won't do it. Right, carry on.
So he's sweeping away. And he gets these body parts pull themselves together and suck them. It's great, and it's Monica Bellucci, and you go to find out it is the bride of Beetlejuice, and they do this big backstory where he used to be someone that was like robbing corpses during the Black Plague, and she found him. They got married. It kind of didn't make sense because then she went to like suck his life force, and then he murdered her. So it's like, he's just another guy to her, but then they make it out like he's the one and all this stuff. So she follows him the whole movie.
Oh, she's back. She's pissed.
She just pops up in random. She's in the ice cream store. She's in the laundry mat. She's just killing random people. And the idea is it's building up to a crescendo at the end of the film where she's gonna pop up. And how is Beetlejuice going to contend with her? What are they going to say to each other? Yeah. What kind of brilliant thing have they concocted to really sell home this confrontation? And she shows up, and a sandworm pops up and eats her and the asshole Rory guy, and over. That's it. Her plot is over. And I just felt like they built her up so much. It's like you put the candles out, you buy the chocolates, you buy yourself one of those like Inn of the Dove hotels where the bed's shaped like a heart, and
it vibrates like in Superman 2.
And then you lay her down and you premature
Beetlejuice.
And you just, and it's like
that sums this film up.
That was what this build-up was for, and you're
we got the title, Bill. Beetlejuice, a premature
Beetlejuice.
Thank you. Right, so in Superman 2, Clark and Lois Lane go to a hotel room, Niagara Falls.
I remember this, okay.
And he puts coins into the bed, and it starts to vibrate. And as a kid, I didn't really understand what the hell was going on, right? And as an adult, I don't really understand what was going on. Have you ever seen? There must be an American thing. Have you ever seen a bed that you put coins in and it vibrates?
I tend to shake enough for the both of us. I don't need. And they kind of went into it with the boys, where if Superman did impregnate or even have sex with her, that would not go well for her or him.
It'd be like a
he
shotgun.
was just like, that would not be a romantic scene.
Your brain's blown up.
Oh my god, it would be so bad. It would be so bad,
It's much better not talking about Beetlejuice. This film, I didn't like this film at all.
Well, and now that we're sort of towards the close of our review, it's funny because I thought it was like, if you asked me to give a review, I'd go, and you hated it. My wife thought it was good. My wife enjoyed it. But on top of everything, setting up this podcast, as you can see, I look like the android from Star Wars Empire Strikes Back when Lando hits the button and he goes up to go act as security, and I'm green. And nothing, I set up this podcast and everything worked, and the second I came into the chat room, everything failed. And so the point I'm making is, for different reasons, both of us are furiously angry. Like, this is the most seething I've ever done a podcast ever. I just hate everybody and everything. I hate everything about the way everyone chooses to be. And so it's probably a little unfair to Beetlejuice that, you asked me what I thought when I'm furiously angry.
It's true, Bill, because what happened was we convened here today, and I was pretty nonplussed about this film. It was it was all right. Overall, a bit of a waste of time and effort. Again, £100 million. And then this happened, and this film, when the horse it rode in on, it's shit, and I give it
Beetlejuice.
2 out of 10. No, 1 out. No, it looked quite nice. I liked.
My experience.
It looked all right. It looked quite
My
nice.
experience with movies over the past 5 years was like, one time we have a thing over in America called Hamburger Helper, and it was you buy the box and it comes with the macaroni and it comes with like a cheese sauce, and you mix it with ground meat. And so I used to have it all the time when I was a kid, and it's not necessarily good for you, so I didn't have it a lot, but I thought it was really good. And I saw it when me and my wife were shopping about 6 months ago, and I said, oh my God, Hamburger Helper. Look, it's not great for me. I'm going to buy 1 box. I haven't had it since I was a kid, and I can't wait to have Hamburger Helper. And then we made it,
disappointment,
and it tasted like dog food. And then I looked back that they had changed the formula to be cheaper about everything, and it just tasted terrible. And so every movie I've seen, almost, with exceptions for the past 5 years, has been, oh, I really liked that when I was a kid. Oh, they changed the ingredients and it's shit now.
Yeah, I like that. I like that analogy, the changing the ingredients.
Yeah. And I think they either change the ingredients or they don't, to its detriment. So, even though I don't like that Hamburger Helper didn't change the ingredients, if they used the same ground meat physically that I ate in the 90s, it would be rotten, and it would not be edible
I see
now.
what you mean, yes.
And so that's another problem where they go, let's just make it exactly the same. And I get it. And I think a lot of people get it. You're investing so much money to make a movie, and you need so much of a box office to make a success, that you take a brand that people recognize, and then you don't stray too far. It's weird, though, because on the one hand, they don't stray too far. I just saw, Matlock? You ever remember Matlock? It's an old Andy Griffin white guy with a white suit, and he's a lawyer. And now it's out again, but Kathy Bates, it's like, hey, remember Matlock? But it's a girl. And I don't understand that risk. Where I'm not even saying, like, morally, I think it's whoever the lead in a show is fine. But it's like they don't want to take a risk, but they'll take a show and then completely change the characters like that, and then go, why don't people like this as much?
I'm still imagining.
It's odd to me.
I'm still imagining. You mentioned it earlier, but Winona Ryder as Batman. I'd watch that.
Like, imagine if they did Beetlejuice the sequel, and then they hired that lady from Saturday Night Live to play Beetlejuice, and just didn't. That was it. They didn't say why. I feel like that's a move they would make. I'm surprised they didn't do that.
A Beetlejuice sequel without Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
would have been a brave move.
And they would just pick a.
They've almost done it. To be honest, Bill, they've almost done it with Beetlejuice. It's almost a Beetlejuice sequel without Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
I feel the same as you a little, in that a little like what you said about Alien Romulus, where you kind of sit down and it's got a proper script and it's got proper lighting and production. And Beetlejuice is the same. It's very nice. It's very proper. I think I'm starting to hate all these films now because I have been spoiled by films that other people couldn't even watch. So things like all the Jarlos and Possession, the things that those films have got going for them is they've got ideas.
They're trying things.
They've got ideas and they're being interesting. And even if I thought I was laughing at Possession, it's only afterwards when I thought back, that film was much, much deeper than I gave it credit for. And I'm not looking back at Beetlejuice thinking I missed anything. If anything, it gets worse in hindsight.
I wanted this in Romulus and I wanted this in Beetlejuice. I want one new idea I'm cool with, hey, remember this happening. But I want one idea where I felt like the people who made it said, oh my God, I have an idea. We need to revisit this because I'm so excited about doing this. And Romulus, I thought it was going to be the serum until they were like, no, we want an excuse to redo the Alien, Resurrection or whatever the hell, with the one with where Sigourney Weaver fought off the alien baby. And with Beetlejuice, I just needed, like, maybe it's a new character, and they did the Bride of Beetlejuice. It's like, maybe this is it. And it's like, no, they had no ideas for her. Once
what about
the premise.
What about my last point, just as I remember it now?
Go
What
for
about
it.
that whole baby thing at the end? There's a little, like child's play Chucky version of Beetlejuice running around, climbing up the walls and stuff. And then it was all a dream? Or, what the f*** was all that about?
I think they were just like,
was
hey,
that a
wouldn't
sequel? For a sequel?
No, I think they were like, hey, wouldn't this be funny? And then that was it. And like, so I will say this for Beetlejuice. It was fine. Michael Keaton was good. It wasn't, I don't think they ruined the legacy of the first one with it. I think it was fine. And I guess, and I think on its own, if I hadn't seen 30,000 prequels and reimaginings and soft reboots, if that wasn't all I feel like there is, I would have been kinder to it. It's like, oh, another thing that I had when I was a kid, and look, they did it again. Okay. It's fine.
It wasn't as good as the fan trailer that we watched.
No. I think, and if they would have, like, boldly kind of kept the comedy but made it a different, like, and that's a bold choice. It's a chance. And it could have failed for them. I get why they don't do it, but it probably would have been more interesting to watch, you know?
They should have gone for it.
And I think if it would have worked, we would have been like, whoa, you know.
Yeah. Happy. There'd be a lot of people saying, oh, it would have just been, all it would have been, it would have been you and I bigging it up and the rest of the world saying it wasn't that good.
Probably.
And what's happened, it's just, you can't win. What would you give it out of 10? I know you don't like giving scores, but give it a score.
7.
Jesus.
Because I say that because
7.
They didn't ruin it. They did the practical effects. They didn't ruin the name of Beetlejuice. Like, I could have been way worse. It could have been way... Like I said, Beetlejuice starring Queen Latifah.
Yeah, right. Fair
It
point.
could have been that. It could have been that.
I'll give it a straight down the middle 5.
Okay.
I'll give it a 5. I'll be fair. Lots of production elements. I can't much remember the score. I'm assuming it was Danny Elfman again. Mm-hmm. And
who also is in trouble for allegations.
Allegations, yeah. I get a bit bored of Danny Elfman, to be fair. I think the best thing Danny Elfman did...
Batman Returns.
Batman
Returns.
Oingo
Boingo. Oingo Boingo.
Oingo, he did Weird Science, ba-dum-bum, ooh, bum-bum, ba-dum-bum. Oh.
When I was a kid,
Weird Science, my favorite film.
When I was a kid, I really, really loved the Batman soundtrack, but even the Batman Returns soundtrack, I thought was really good by Danny Elfman.
I think
I
he
used
only
to have it on
wrote,
CD.
apart from Weird Science, he only ever wrote one decent score, and then he rehashed it for every film, didn't he?
I mean, you can definitely go, oh, that's Danny Elfman when you hear him.
I quite like. I agree with you. I mean, like, if the only thing you did in your whole life was write that score for Batman.
Do you think his ancestors were humans who interbred with elves?
Oh.
You know how, like, if your last name is Smith, your ancestor was a Smith? And if your last name was, like, no, I'm not going to do that joke.
On that bombshell. Yeah.
If your last name was psychosexual sadist.
On that bombshell, we thought Beetlejuice was brilliant. We advise you all to go out and watch it. Fantastic film. Until next time.
Over.
And...